we have some gameplay to show off today between Chien-Pao and Charizard. So one of the most popular decks to be expected in our Temporal Forces format against one of the best counters for it. This is post-rotation, so we're going to be playing with quite a few new cards here. It looks like the Chien-Pao player has a very strong start, although they did opt to concealed cards away the energy that they had in hand, rather than retreating the 1 energy Frigibax into the Chien-Pao, using Shivery Chill to get 2 more energy, and then using concealed cards to draw 2. So I definitely would have liked to see the retreat first, get some more energy around. I think they maybe just didn't want to put Chien-Pao active yet. That way, maybe they have an easier time getting Greninja active next turn. But I definitely think they have a better chance of hitting the Moonlight Shuriken or an MP very much. Or if like a Rotom or a Lumen comes down, maybe you can even hit the 2 prize KO on that with the Chien-Pao itself. From the Charizard side, looks like we have a Rellor and a Charmander down. Nothing too much, but they do have an Iono, which does find them Buddy Poffin. So now they're getting going here, getting much more Charmanders out. This Rellor does evolve into Rabsca, which prevents all effective attacks, including damage done to your bench Pokemon, so that'll prevent Greninja, Sableye, Devolution TM, anything that is done to the bench here. So once that comes out, the Greninja play will be taken away as an option. This Chien-Pao list doesn't have Canceling Clone either. However, playing this over the Manaphy does mean that this turn we could see the Greninja play come down here. The Chien-Pao player are going to Rare Candy the bench Frigibax, definitely the correct move here. I'd like to see them go for the Moonlight Shuriken. I think we could have even seen maybe Buddy Poffin before the Chien-Pao to get another Bidoof out, just to thin the hand, or thin the deck. I think we wanted double Bibarel ideally anyways, but that does take away your MP very much option, which would be your other way to take 2 prize cards this turn. I just don't think we really need to go for MP very much here. The odds of us hitting it are pretty low, especially right now. But they are going to Nest Ball it out, so it is there as an option. I'd like to see them probably Ultra Ball, Irida for Ultra Ball for the Bibarel out here and start drawing some more cards. Because right now they don't really have anything going on. They can attack with Chien-Pao if they really want to, but that's not doing too much. So yeah, here I would like to see ideally Frigibax Ultra Ball, and then you can Ultra Ball away Water and Frigibax for the Bibarel and draw 4. It looks like they're eyeing up the Chien-Pao in the Earthen Vessel though, so they can't Shivery Chill. But they can, their option here is to guarantee the attack by grabbing the Vessel and using that to find the 2 Water Energy to have the 1 prize knockout on the active Bibarel. And it looks like that is what they're eyeing up here. Sort of debating what they want to get rid of with the Vessel. Looks like it is going to be the Water Energy to get 2 more. Okay, yeah, here now they can use Shivery Chill, get 2 Water out, and set up for the attack on the Bidoof. See, they also could have Iridaed for the Frigibax instead of the Chien-Pao. That way they could use it as an Earthen Vessel target, and then they'd have 1 more energy to work with here and thin that Frigibax out of the deck that they probably won't need. And I think we did maybe palm an Irida by accident here when we were undoing Vesseling away the Chien-Pao. That second Irida made its way back to the hand, and then the Vessel came down to discard the water. So we should have 1 less Irida in hand, I do believe. Maybe they'll correct it, but that's okay if they don't. I mean, probably won't have too big of an impact on the game, but see, the Cryptomaniac's Deciphering is going to find Bibarel. I don't think they have to reveal on the Cryptomaniac's Deciphering. Could be wrong, but either way, this is just the easiest way to move the cards out of the deck and then put them on top on PvP tabletop. But it looks like the Evo TM's going on the bottom, and then the Bibarel's going on the top. So they're going to go for the Skwovet play, draw the Bibarel, evolve into a barrel, draw 5, and that'll get them the Evo TM plus some other options. Looks like we're gonna Evo TM out double Charmeleon here. Or I think we evolved into one of the Charmeleons manually, and then Evo TM for Charmeleon Rabsca. Yeah, with 3 cards in hand, it looks like that is what was done here. So the Greninja play is prevented now, which means we really need to see like an Ampy very much, ideally, which we definitely can. We could Irida for superior energy retrieval. We could also just take 1 prize here, though. Even us out, go down to 4 prize cards. I really would have liked to see Moonlight Shuriken last turn. I definitely think we have the pieces where we could have gone for that instead of the 1 prize knockout on Bidoof. If we maybe played a little bit differently, or like Irida for the Ultra Ball for a barrel and tried to hit superior, and just established more of a setup board. But now we're at the sort of this awkward prize trade where eventually we're going to have to take a 1 prize knockout again to win the game. And if we take a 1 prize knockout this turn, we'll still be putting the Charizard into a damage range where they can one-shot Chien-Pao and Iron Hands. So, but it looks like we are going to see the Irida. Looks like that second Irida probably won't be corrected here, but hopefully it doesn't make too big of an impact on the game. Gonna Vessel away the Nest Ball. I believe the Guzma is supposed to be a Prime Catcher proxy. Yep, the Artazon. It's not bumped. So it looks like they're sort of debating what they want to do here. I think Prime Catcher for the barrel is certainly an option. So you're going to see a concealed first. Finds Ultra Ball Pokestop, so I would definitely like to see us spin the Pokestop. If we had a superior, we can go for an Ampy very much. But looks like no superior, just another Ultra Ball. We can Ultra Ball the barrel out here now, though. We maybe could have even just used Ultra Ball before we used the Pokestop and discarded like Baxcalibur and the other Pokestop that was already in hand. And then we could have drawn the cards with the barrel before using Pokestop to give us the highest possible chance of getting the superior energy retrieval. It looks like we are going to see the barrel come down now after the Pokestop. Mega will attach to the Iron Hands and a Prime Catcher, and they're just going to really hope to hit superior off of this Industrious Incisors for 2. Ironically, if we didn't have that extra Irida in hand, we could draw an extra card here to have a higher chance of hitting the superior. But look like the Rabsca is going to come out. If we can remove that, then we should be able to Moonlight Shuriken next turn pretty consistently. So, makes sense. But we're just going to draw 2. We don't find the superior, which means we're going to be stuck with this Iron Hands in the active. Not the best position to be in, for sure. But this Charizard player is probably going to have a tough time taking a knockout on a 2-prize Pokemon next turn. So we still sort of are in a decent spot. We're going to maintain the prize lead. But things are definitely looking much scarier now. Now on the Charizard side, they only have 4 cards in hand, but they do have Skwovet and Bibarel, so they will be able to see lots more cards. All they really need to do is get this Rabsca out of the active. Now, Rabsca does only have 1 retreat cost, so going to be pretty easy to move it here. Looks like we even see the Prime Catcher here, so aren't going to need to waste an energy retreating that. We can just bring up this barrel, really target down the engine for this Baxcalibur player. I like going for the Bibarel here over going for the Baxcalibur, since it would be pretty easy to get another one out. Just Irida for that Rare Candy. We already have the Baxcalibur in hand, but if we didn't, we could Irida for the Baxcalibur as well. So knocking out this Bibarel, especially because the Chien-Pao player opted to try to go for this hands play rather than setting up a second Bibarel, they're going to be pretty underdeveloped here. and in a pretty awkward spot with only being one prize up is really... You might as well have taken no prizes against Charizard at that point, because you'd ideally like to go 2-2-2. So the Charizard player definitely seems to have a pretty strong lead here. That being said, if the Chien-Pao player can just chain together 2-2-2 at this point, we'll still take a pretty convincing victory over the Charizard player, since Charizard is only taking one prize knockout here themselves. I would definitely like to see the Chien-Pao come up. Should be pretty reasonable for us to get the knockout on the Charizard EX here. And that's definitely what we want to go for. But it looks like the Iron Hand is going to come up. I'm really unsure what the line is with that. We don't have any more Gusting in deck. Our Prime Catcher's gone. Yeah, I'm really not sure why the Iron Hands came up here at all. But this is going to make it very difficult for the Chien-Pao player to form any sort of comeback. Because I don't see any switching cards in deck. It's going to be very difficult for them to take a knockout. Yeah, I'm just really not seeing a way to do anything this turn. Looks like they're showing off the Rabsca. Gonna see Superior, get 4 water back, but not a whole lot we can do with it. So yeah, if we had gone for the Chien-Pao promotion instead of the Iron Hands promotion, then we could have Superior for 4, Super Rotted in like maybe one of the Pokemon that we discarded, maybe the Chien-Pao, or maybe the Bibarel that was knocked out last turn, and 2 water energy, and then we can Shivery Chill for 2 water and take a pretty easy knockout on this Charizard. And then from there, we just have to take another Chien-Pao knockout on the next Charizard, and 1 more prize per game. So I think we'd be in a pretty good spot, all things considered, with having no Bibarel in play. Would be pretty tough to hit it still, probably, but hitting this Charizard EX for 120 certainly doesn't do us much better. Because we definitely could have knocked it out this turn. Now, it looks like on the Chien-Pao side, we might have missed a couple things doing the discard search there, but we are going to see the boss come down. Bibarel's going to draw some more cards. And the Charizard player is going to be in a good spot here. They even out their prize trade, go down to 4, and keep the Bibarel out of play. And we see the Iron Hands come up again. I really don't... Like, this Iron Hands can't knock out a Charizard EX. I don't understand why we're going for the Iron Hands play again here. Because we could definitely just take a knockout with Chien-Pao. And we don't have any Gust, so there's no alternative here. Like, I guess we can triple amp you very much, but I mean, at this point, after this amp you very much, the Iron Hand is just going to die. Maybe I'm missing a Gust option in deck? Let's see. Nest Ball. No, definitely no Gusting in deck, which means this Charizard, like, it doesn't KO the Iron Hands. I guess maybe they don't, they just don't want to give up the prizes and increase the Charizard's damage output, but I mean, you're going to have to take prize cards eventually to win the game. Maybe they're trying to wait until they have a Bibarel established before putting their 2 prizers in one-shot range. But if you were attacking with your 2 prizers and then they knock them out, then you'd get to keep your Bidoof in play, whereas right now your opponent just keeps bringing up this Bibarel and keeping it out of play. And you gotta assume that you have like decent odds of being able to find a Bibarel off of an Iono. You know, at a certain point, you have to just start attacking, start putting on pressure, and start trading knockouts, otherwise you're just going to fall way too far behind. You can see the Skwovet. We also saw that Switch used. Yeah, and huge punish here for not taking the knockout. We see the Vitality Band drop into the Charizard and a boss on the Chien-Pao. So now the Charizard player is going to get on 2 prize cards, and there's really no realm where the Chien-Pao player can ever come back here. This is definitely, you know, in a best of 3 scenario, if you're like at a timed best of 3, this is definitely like for sure scoop in this position. There's just no way you're ever dealing with all 3 of these Charizards. But we are going to play it out. Maybe at least get a Chien-Pao knockout on one of these Charizards before we go down. The Bidoof active means that if we do whiff it this turn, the opponent won't be able to win without a boss next turn. But it looks like we are going to see a concession here. We'll move to the next game. So we're going to see an Ultra Ball to grab the Greninja and a Shivery Chill. Definitely don't mind this. Getting rid of the water is fine. I don't think we really need to attach water for turn, per se. You can save it for concealed. We also might want the Ultra Ball fodder next turn. Maybe we even would have liked to play the Ultra Ball this turn, get rid of the Iono and the water, and then we can get the Bidoof down, because obviously Bibarel is pretty important to us cycling through our deck as much as possible. So I think I probably would have liked to see the Ultra Ball drop. We could even, yeah, I think definitely getting rid of the Iono would probably be the optimal play. But there's definitely an argument to be made to go Ultra Ball, discard Water, Irida, and then just Iono for a fresh hand of 6 next turn. That might be the better play. Either way, I do think we should have seen the Ultra Ball come down. Irida guarantees us the Rare Candy for backs, though, so. Probably Ultra Ball, Water, Iono would have been my optimal line there. I could also Ultra Ball away double Water. If this Chien-Pao in the active isn't getting knocked out, you'll have Shivery Chill to access the more energy next turn either way. So you don't necessarily need to save any energy for concealed cards. But we would like to either get a Moonlight Shuriken or a MP Very Much off next turn for sure. We should definitely be able to do so with the cards that we have available here. Although, we're going to need to get something decent off of the concealed cards plus top deck. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so we top deck a Buddy Poffin. That's pretty good. We can get Bidoof. We can get another Frigibax. Yep. We're going to Shivery Chill at the same time. And then concealed cards. Yep. So we're going to get rid of the Lightning to maximize the odds of hitting this Moonlight Shuriken here. I don't think that's super necessary. I think that having the Lightning for the MP Very Much option is probably worth keeping it around for. Because the Moonlight Shuriken has 1 colorless cost anyways, right? So if we need to use the Lightning for that, we can. Next, we're going to see a Vessel here, so we'll be able to get the... Well, it looks like there's not enough energy in deck, so we actually won't be able to get the Moonlight Shuriken here. Yeah, so we'll just have to take a single prize knockout on the active at this point. It's like, yeah, they're trying to think this through, think if there's anything that they can do differently, but there definitely isn't. I don't even think it's necessarily worth it to take the 1 prize knockout here, because then your opponent can Arven for Vitality Band and knock out your Chien-Pao in return. Gonna Rare Candy into the backs. That is the backs that came down this turn, but I mean, they're the same thing. Yeah, I would definitely like, I think I'd like to see all the energy come down onto, like, 2 on each Chien-Pao. And then just a pass. Just in case we get Iono'd or something, we don't have to... I mean, if we get Iono'd, we can just Shivery Chill for the 2 energy back, so leaving the 2 in hand is probably fine. We definitely want to attach at least 2, since we don't have any more water energy in deck. But it looks like this is all we're going to see. I would like to see no attack here. I think that just increases the Charizard's damage output, gives them the option to Vitality Band knock you out next turn. But it looks like we are going to take the knock on the Charmander. I wonder if the Charizard player will have the punish. It is a lot to ask for, but they could just have Arven Charizard EX in hand already, right? And they just go Arven, Rare Candy, Vitality Band. You see the bench Charmander evolved into Charmeleon. It does prevent all effects of attacks used by opponent's Pokemon done to Charmeleon. That does not include damage, so Moonlight Shuriken will still be able to hit that if the Rellor doesn't evolve this turn into Rabsca. Get to draw a fresh hand with Bibarel, find a Buddy PAF and a Charmander, so odds are we're probably not getting the Vitality Band knockout here, unless those last 2 cards in hand are Arven and Charizard EX. Yeah, looks like we're going to see a reset. I think maybe the Charizard player scooped. I definitely don't think the Charizard player should have scooped there. But it looks like, because they didn't get the Rabsca down, maybe they're expecting to just like easily get Moonlight Shuriken next turn, which they probably would have gotten Moonlit. So, you know, maybe, definitely not in a good spot, but maybe not quite scoop worthy. But you know, when you gotta save time, you gotta save time. So we're gonna Heavy Ball, fish out that Chien-Pao. Not a great start for the Vexal player. It looks like we do have a Canceling Clone. I was just surprised in the first game. So, Canceling Clone through that Rabsca with the Prime Catcher is an option, although not one that'll be available to you super often, since those are both 1-ofs in the deck. Unless there's another Canceling Clone prize this game, and they were both prized game 1. But I'm going to assume they're both 1-ofs. Now, we don't get a Frigibax down here, so the Chien-Pao player not putting a lot of pressure on, and the hand's pretty dead in general. So we could see a pretty quick victory for the Charizard player if they can get turn 2 Charizard EX and just build a strong lead. And we are seeing an Arven for Buddy PAF in here, so... And then we're going to see an Evo TM and a Charmeleon and Bibarel. Okay, we see Rabsca and Charmeleon. So the Bibarel's probably already in hand, I'm going to assume. If it's not, I definitely would have rather seen the Charmeleon Bibarel, because there's no way your opponent gets Moonlight Shuriken next turn without the Frigibax in play. But I understand wanting to get the Rabsca out. I'm going to assume that there's probably the Bibarel in hand already, if that's the play that they're going for. We see concealed cards. Don't get too much off of that. We'll see... Benching the Iron Hands I don't think is super necessary, since we're obviously not using it right now. Just sort of opens it up to get Boss hit with its like super heavy retreat cost. Pokestop gets Rare Candy and discards 2 energy. I mean, having that energy in the discard isn't the worst thing in the world, since we can access it with Superior, but certainly would have liked a little bit more than a Rare Candy off of the Pokestop. I think they're probably debating whether or not to use their Prime Catcher here to try to stall a little bit, but I would rather just use Wave Summoning. I believe search for a water and attach it to Kyogre. We just flashed on the screen, so that's definitely what we're using here. Yeah, so okay. Wave Summoning, attach water energy to Kyogre, shuffle up. And we'll see if the Charizard can just get a Charizard EX out here and take a very convincing lead. Ideally, they want to bump the stadium as well, just to give the Chien-Pao player as few options to draw cards as possible. If they can hit Stadium Bump plus Charizard EX plus Boss on Greninja, the Chien-Pao player will have no way currently to draw more cards next turn with their current hand. So that would be a huge, huge play for the Charizard player to just completely lock this Chien-Pao player out of the game. We're going to see an Ultra Ball, so this is probably going to switch with the Bibarel. Now, see, yeah, if the Bibarel wasn't in hand already, I definitely would have liked to grab the Bibarel instead, in case we get, like, Iono. Just because the Rabsca is not, we can Ultra Ball for the Rabsca instead of the Bibarel, right? We don't need to have the Rabsca out when the opponent has no Frigibax in play and can't Moonlight Shuriken us anyways. Whereas, like, we definitely want Bibarel next turn. And, if we have a strong enough turn here, we get, like, Rare Candy Charizard plus another Charizard and not even really be worried about Moonlight Shuriken at that point. But it looks like we are going to get some more low HP Pokemon down. And no Rare Candy Charizard yet. Now, the Chien-Pao player did get Iono'd here into a much better hand. I don't like this play from the Charizard player at all, especially because they already had the barrel in hand. They could have just, like, kept drawing cards with barrel, kept pushing their lead. Especially because they had, they had Charmander active, Charmeleon on bench, Rabsca on bench, Bibarel on bench. How much more can you really possibly need? And the Chien-Pao player had been doing basically nothing, so I would have really liked to see no Iono there. This, however, does give the Chien-Pao player a chance to get pretty convincingly back into the game. They could get an Ampy very much next turn if the Charizard player continues to whiff getting this Charizard out, because obviously the Charizard player doesn't have the Rare Candy or the Charizard right now, otherwise they would have started to put the pressure on. So, if they whiff again next turn, then the Iron Hands can come up and take the first 2-prize knockout, and from there the Chien-Pao player is looking at it like they're in a very good position. No bench room for Bidoof. Not great at all, of course, but take what you can get. We're going to see the Irida here, Excalibur and Rare Candy. I don't even know if this was totally necessary, because we're probably going to get Iono'd here. I think that maybe you just sort of pass and leave the hand for next turn. Obviously, this does let us, if we don't get Iono'd, Rare Candy Excalibur and then play our own Iono to draw much more cards. However, if we get Iono'd here, we get pretty hard punished for just, like, wasting that Irida. Of course, that does mean that the Charizard player isn't bossing, and I guess that would probably be the scariest thing, right? Because there is a Vitality Band on that Charmeleon. Even then, they probably don't really need to boss. Because it's, they aren't getting a knockout or anything. The Charmander player still has 6 prize cards. Like, it's probably always better for the Charizard player to either play Iono to disrupt this Excalibur Rare Candy, is definitely optimal, or, playing this Arven. Now, we are seeing an Ultra Ball discarding an Iono, so I'm really confused as to why the Charizard player is opting. I guess they just really wanted to guarantee the Charizard off of the Arven. However, odds are pretty high that they would hit the Charizard off of the Iono and could evolve that bench Charmeleon into it, because they don't even really need Rare Candy, right? And then they can play that Iono to make it so that the Chien-Pao's players, Excalibur and Rare Candy, go right to the bottom of their deck, and they don't have a Bidoof, so their draw options are going to be limited. Obviously, they'll get a fresh hand of 6, but currently they have a hand of 7 that guaranteedly has Rare Candy back, so definitely would have liked to see Iono play there instead and just sort of hope to hit the Charizard. You have Iono, plus you have Skwovet into Bib, so you have lots of ways to draw more cards and try to hit that Charizard. Don't necessarily always have to go for the guarantee with the Arven when your odds of hitting it are that high. Especially because the Charizard player is really not in that bad of a spot if they don't hit it there. Obviously, it does open up the MP very much to still be an option, but the odds of you whiffing the Charizard are pretty low, so risking that the Vax player has some super good turn next turn after you whiff and hitting the amp is definitely worth it. But we're going to see the Bidoof come down now. We really need to see a knockout here, which should be possible with what's in hand. I believe we have 4 water and discard at this point. You're going to see a Pokestop, just mill 3. It's not finding anything useful. We're going to Superior away the Buddy Poffin and the Ultra Ball. I think that's fine. We still have our Prime Catcher left, so we want to save that Canceling Clone for a potential Greninja play, since Greninja would be able to take out Rabsca and Skwovet at the very least for a 2-price turn. And then Iono. Now we can still see Shivery Chill here to grab the last 2 water for the knockout, as long as they are in deck. I think it's pretty good for next turn, honestly. The Cryptomaniac's deciphering. I don't know what it got translated to in English, but Cryptomaniac will be able to search out whatever the Chien-Pao player wants and then draw it off of a barrel. So, and we can thin the hand right down to 0 currently with Ultra Ball and Prime Catcher. Although we'll probably hold on to that Prime Catcher. Now, we do just see, maybe there was no water energy in deck? There's no way there's that many water energy prized though, because they have the Super Rod before they used the Iono as well. So, they could have Super Rodded and then Shivery Chilled, but maybe they already used Shivery Chill and discarded the energy and I missed it. Or maybe they just really didn't want to take a knockout so that they didn't get knocked out in return like were doing in Game 1. I think that's definitely not the correct way to play this. You'd rather just go 2-2-2. You're going to be able to do that way more consistently than you're going to be able to do this hit, amp, and take a 3-3 on Charizards. I think that's just a pretty weak play in general. Takes one more attack to win the game that way than it would if you just went 2-2-2. So I think the Chien-Pao player actually was in a pretty strong position to make a comeback here. If they took the knockout and then they could even go for the Prime Catcher Moonlight Shuriken next turn if they really wanted to, or just go for an amp. Pretty easy ways to take 2 prize cards every turn for the rest of the game if the Chien-Pao player had chosen to take the knockout there. Now that Charizard that's damaged goes to the bench, I mean, we're probably going to see a Prime Catcher on it and an Ampy very much on it, but then we're still going to need to win with 2 more attacks on at least a knockout on Charizard and a 1-prizer knockout, if not a hit on Charizard and Ampy very much to this one as well. That's going to be way harder than the line I was suggesting. Now the Charizard player, doesn't even mind that they can't knock out a 2-prizer this turn, right? They just target down that Bidoof again, keep the barrel out of play, sell their prizes down to 4, and that Chien-Pao player really doesn't get that much reward for denying that damage increase. And only 2 Superior Energy Retrieval and a Super Rod left. Definitely enough resources to potentially close the game, especially because I assume there's some stuff prized, maybe a couple energy. But yeah, I definitely would have liked to see. I'd definitely like to see the Chien-Pao player look at their discard, so I know how many energy in there. Because maybe they just didn't have enough energy to go for the Super Rod Shivery Chill play, because they had the Super Rod before the Iono. They have a bunch of energy prized. Okay, Cryptomaniac. No, I don't know why they're not going for the amp here either. And you're just going for the 1-prize turn. Settle them down to 5, and then they can go. I'm going to burn the canceling clone. Oh no, the canceling clone's on top, and they're just going to pass. Yeah, they really got thrown for a loop there. They couldn't do much that turn just because the Bidoof got knocked out of play. But yeah, very, very hard punished for sort of in all of these games. We're seeing some pretty hard punishes for even if they might be not the biggest mistakes in the world. These sort of small mistakes build up over the course of a game, and that's how someone can beat these Chien-Pao decks with Charizard when their opponent starts making those small mistakes in one of your worst matchups, you manage to pull out the win somehow, just because you can capitalize on exactly where the Chien-Pao player went wrong. And the Charizard player is definitely doing exactly that here. Now it looks like we're going to see an amp now. Irida, grab Superior, Chien-Pao, and I should get to take a look at the discard pile here. So if there's 6 water energy in there, then we definitely could have gone for the Super Rod earlier for the knockout, instead of the line that we're sort of left with now, where we're having to amp this for a knockout later. Oh yeah, lots of water energy in discard pile. So I definitely would have liked to see that. At this point, we're going to amp, go down to 3 prize cards, and then the Charizard player is going to almost always be able to take these last 3 prize cards before we can attack 2 more times. Because we're going to go down to 3, the Charizard player is going to go down to 1, and then there's nothing we're going to be able to do to stop that Charizard from taking its last prize card. So yeah, the amp finally comes down. The Charizard's going to take knockout here. And the thing is just, yeah, even if we take the knockout on this Charizard in return with the Chien-Pao, another Charizard just comes down to take its place. We're going to have to really hope that this Charizard player misses the Charizard EX next turn to evolve that Charmeleon into. Because they don't even need a Rare Candy. And that's really our only line to win. I guess the Charizard player, no, they're using Arven, so I mean, we know they're not going to go for a 1 prize knockout here. We know they're just going to take out the active. Their prime catcher, I believe, is gone as well. So they're just going to be able to go down to 1, and there's really nothing that we can do. If they bossed around this and took like a knockout on the Bidoof again, went down to 2, then we could maybe go for like a prime catcher on a 1 prizer and just take a 1 prize knockout with Greninja this turn, and then use Chien-Pao to take our last 2 prize cards on a Charizard, but that option will not be available. So yeah, the Chien-Pao player should be able to get a knockout here. They just need to find their Super Rod, but after that, there's really no way to stop this Charizard from taking that last prize card. I guess we could maybe see Prime Catcher on Rabsca, and then Moonlight, canceling Clone, Moonlight Shuriken the bench Skwovet and the Bibarel, and just leave the Rabsca active to force the Charizard player to find an energy to retreat, and a boss. Oh no, they wouldn't need a boss, right? Because they took prizes. But we would force them to need an energy to retreat at least. But it looks like the Chien-Pao player does see the writing on the wall there, and we see Charizard taking the win. So that's sort of, yeah, I think that was a good example of how you can see, those little mistakes add up against what should be a pretty favorable matchup. But thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that gave you some insight into what lines you should be taking as Chien-Pao to consistently beat Charizard, and some common mistakes to avoid. Have a good one.
Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. Hey trainers, tired of having too many cards lying around? I know that feeling, and I know what a hassle it is to try and sell those cards. But selling bulk is now easier than ever with TCG Bulk. Find tons of potential buyers in a single place. You just download the app, look for the best buyer near you, and carefully pack your bulk, ship it, and you get paid. It really is that simple. Turn the cards you don't want into the cards you absolutely need for your next deck. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.